right? And
he has played.
If you don't let the Scion go, even without the strategy, you saw like how heavily they invest in trying to counteract it. It is going to be red side, so that's going to be a swap up at the very least.
A big change. Ari going to be first cab off the rank here as far as things that are different from the bans that we saw in the first couple of games. Because we saw exactly the same. It was a bit of a run back when it came to the first round. Kasante still going to be banned here on the blue side for T1, as the Maokai going to be taken off the board here by Gen G. So Lulu is the one that gets through in favor of the Ari. So first pick here for T1, we'll see what it's going to be. If it's Scion, I'm going to be confused. But Annie's going to come in. So 3 games in a row here for Faker on the Annie, as this is their first time on blue side so far this tournament. See whether that is going to be a buff for them or whether it's going to be enough to shake things up and get Gen G back into the series.
So I think the big thing here is, like, do you prioritize the Lulu and the Scion, and they kind of go for second dip on whatever the AD carry is, like whether it's something like the Aphelios or the Jinx. But I think the big problem is that if you end up leaving the Lulu open here, it's going to be a little bit easier for Kumayushi and Kerry to go for like Aphelios Lulu and actually have a ton of setup for the Aphelios alongside the Annie, so they are just going to take it.
Yep, Lulu going to be picked up here by Delight, locking down the bottom lane, although certainly some other options here, as Peanut just decides that he wants to scoot around and see what else he could be picking up. That's a brand, so probably not what they're going to be taking, and instead Peanut just going to settle back in to a comfort champion of his. Has been nerfed, of course, since he played it domestically, but still we've seen can work out very well.
And what I'm looking towards is mid lane, because mid lane matchup, as mentioned previously, I think if Chovy doesn't, at the very least, have pressure, if he isn't able to impact in the early game, Gen G looks like a shadow of their own selves. Yes, they've been able to play around Paze really well domestically, but that did come in large part through Chovy, as Delight actually is a great blitzcrank himself as well.
I don't know if you want to with the Jinx, though. That's the only thing. Like, usually you have something to try and keep the Jinx safe, whether it's the Thresh or the Tank Kench, so a hover, but I'd be really surprised if they don't go for the Thresh. Yeah, there.
Peanut just losing his mind. He is almost always laughing, by the way. If you look at Peanut on player cams, like, it is very hard to make Peanut upset. So having a great time here, even though they are down 0-2 in this series. Will be the Thresh in the end for Delight, providing a bit of safety, but also has that hook available. And now second round of bans. Once again, the Poppy going to be taken away. We'll see what T1 is going to remove.
Big fan of the Poppy ban. It not only is really strong into the Wukong, but we saw how well T1 was able to play around the ultimate to set up favorable fights for themselves no matter what. So taking that away means that Owner is going to have to go in a different direction. Lissandra banned again. Unsurprisingly, we do know that it is one of the picks you can go for into the Annie. And again, I do not want to see Chovy on something scaling. I want to see him on something that is actually able to impact the map early, but his Ari, his Kasante, and his Lissandra are all already taken away. So there really isn't that much left, and I actually think that Gen G, in that scenario, is going to have a much tougher time. I really like the read from T1 in that regard.
I'm also surprised that the Scion has made it this far into the draft when you think like how impactful it has been, and neither team willing to take it so far. So I am curious exactly what the follow-up here is. Maybe it's just something like a Syndra or a Blanc ban, or maybe it ends up being T1 taking the Scion off the board entirely. But can I go for the Malphite? So definitely a bit of a call-out saying, look, if you don't take the Scion, we're just going to take it and have a great time.
Well, now it's Paze's choice, and that is a Rumble. So theoretically a flex pick. Could be heading towards that mid lane. Should just be a lot of fire in the mid lane, theoretically. But could, of course, always be Doran there on the top side of the map, the more common place for a Rumble to be placed.
So I actually had this really funny conversation in the green room at the start of the day where Goldberg and Ox were literally talking about this matchup, where I was like, I'd love to, like, Goldberg's like, I want to see more Rumble, and then Ox is like, yeah, but if someone just has a Scion in the top lane, what happens? So I'm glad that these two are going to get an actual functioning follow-up to this question.
I'm actually thinking that this might be Chovy, right? Yeah. Trying to go for something that both can impact the map of early team fighting, the Cyclone combination with the Rumble ultimate very, very strong. And being able to win some of those early skirmishes would be huge.
Are we zigzagging?
Oh,
no, it will be the Kazakhs locked in for Owner one more time. He's looked fantastic on this champion so far this tournament. And now Gen G, what is going to be the response? Could just be Gwen, honestly. Could just do it. And then put the Rumble into the mid lane. Not sure how the Rumble into Annie matchup goes. But we'll see what Gen G do decide on, as Gnar is the consideration. So it will be, the Rumble Gnar combo has been something that's been tried and true. You know, you've got the, this was played in the jungle mostly for the Rumble when we saw it last time around. But the Equalizer plus the Gnar into a wall is a lot of damage and a lot of CC.
Even the Cyclone as well, like you've got so much setup for Chovy's Rumble here, and I'm going to be really curious to see how they make that work at the level 6 mark, because it definitely feels like when you start to look towards things like early Dragons, well, I've got push on bot, I've got a massive wombo combo in my mid jungle, let's see if we can try and make this work for Gen G, and I think it's kind of a twist now for Gen G are saying, hey look, you know what, we tried to match the late game scaling, we tried to go uber scaling with the Aurelion Sol, let's just go back to seeing if we can match in the early game.
Yeah, and if they can snowball the map, as mentioned, picks like a Rumble can really make the game unplayable for the opponent, right? You can zone people off turrets very easily. The amount of circles you have available to just throw at the enemy and keep them down is really, really tough to deal with. But I do think when we get to the late game, if T1 is able to get there unscathed, they're still going to be extremely strong.
It's just the short range of T1 that I'm a little bit nervous about.
Yeah.
Like Rumble works so well into these kind of compositions because, as you rightly pointed out, Mel, the fact that you can like separate the team and you've just got like a flame spitter in your face as you're trying to auto attack, especially if you end up with an early Zhonya's. So I definitely think that this is a game where Gen G want to try and put their foot down early, and if they can get there, can definitely continue to choke out T1.
Yeah, they still do have abilities to play out that late game. Like you say, the range is still going to be there, but certainly a lot of fun as far as what they've picked up here. Sort of saved themselves from the Scion Rumble matchup, which has certainly helped keep things a bit spicy. But here we go. Game number 3. T1, they win here. They remain in the upper bracket. Gen G will be on their last legs in the lower bracket after a loss in this game. Need to keep themselves in it, keep that reverse sweep alive. Could be silver scrapes, you know, you never know. And 100% of games that Gen G have played at MSI so far, have gone to more than 3 games.
True.
So, I don't know, you can't argue with the stats.
Yeah, great stats.
Yeah.
Love the stats usage.
Yeah, so that means it's almost guaranteed, right?
Great sample size as well.
I'm all about the one sample size. It's my favorite. I feel like you get the funnest stats out of it.
Because it makes it easy.
Well, no, it doesn't make it. It just makes it, you know, could be anything. You know, it keeps up the variance. We like that. Because we don't like 3-0s quite as much. We want to be here for longer. We want more games in our MSI, and hopefully Gen G can give us that.
Cool.
Okay, a little bit of convergence, but not too much action here as Faker moves in, gets a ward, they get some money from the ping, and they are just going to move it on back. Doran now in a good matchup here with the Gnar into the Scion, avoids the Q there quite nicely. And we just move into laning as usual. No shenanigans to come through this time. And the last Rumble mid internationally was, of course, Doinby, because he's the guy that plays weird stuff. 2021, and it was a loss.
You know, he also was the one who brought us a Nautilus, which also has comeback.
And that one's been fantastic. So this is the era of Doinby, even though he's not actually here at the tournament, as we are fighting and we are committing to this one. Keria lit on fire, down to 150 as Delight's moving forward. Not all that scared, but maybe he should be, as Gumayushi firing back nicely. Some trading. Keria coming off a little bit worse for wear, but the health trade, I think, as a whole, is actually kind of even.
2-for-1 trade. We also have Peanut starting on the top half of the map, so might have an opportunity to make his way towards the bot side owner, particularly with a champion like Kha'Zix. Ideally, you just want to get the 6 as soon as possible, get way more power. Also want to highlight, Chovy going for Ignite here. So really, really aggressive setup, and also means that if he does fall behind early without the teleport, can get in some trouble.
Good ward from Gen G as well over towards the Raptors. We'll just spot out exactly where Kha'Zix is now. Will time out just before owner clears them, but you'll know he's going to be moving back towards top side. Another ward place, as you can see, just the blue spotted exactly what that is. So Peanut should know that there's no real pressure on towards this bottom side. So if Delight can set up any kind of hook, they're in a good spot.
Well, Doran's going to dive on top of a Q and misses Wallop, but not really too much kill threat on either side at this point in the game. And Gnar should just have control of the wave as this one continues. Scion, not too worried. He is a big tanky boy and just needs to survive. As Chovy looking a little bit worse for wear in the melee versus range matchup. This is sort of his speciality as a mid laner, playing out melee matchups very effectively. But Faker is not going to let him get through this lane for free.
And I think a huge amount of this on Gen G's side is trying to control that, right? When you look at top side, Doran's going to push for days, he'll be totally fine. Pays in the bot lane, as long as you keep some vision here, can push for days and he'll be fine as well. So a lot of this does feel like, okay, can Peanut and Chovy interact enough where Faker ends up blowing an early summoner spell, then you can use that pushing bot to go for early dragons, try to snowball the game that way. Because at the moment, Chovy should be fine, like he'll still be able to eventually push out this wave, may need a little bit of help from Peanut just to make sure he can do so safely as Owner making his way towards the top side.
Like this a lot. Doran should be aware.
See whether he can create enough distance, avoids that Q, and looks for an opportunity to go back in. This could spell his demise, as we're going to see a hook go out on this bottom side. Peanut setting up, but already Doran is under threat, looking for that flash angle. We'll see whether he finds it. And actually, he's not looking for the flash as he hops out of the way. Zeus' health bar is going down, and now he's splitting away from Owner. Has Doran kept himself alive? Finally does flash, and he's been isolated. There is the first blood, and it goes over to Owner.
And he stalls for a long time, but isn't actually able to make his way out. No reinforcements are on the way as well. And Peanut trying to get something going on the cross map doesn't actually end up working out. And Owner with Futures Market is, Chovy does have Ignite, so maybe a little careful, but with Futures Market and an early kill, he has a serrated Dirk and a longsword on his first back. And champions like Kha'Zix can snowball so incredibly fast, particularly with First Strike, if they get an early lead.
T1 once again off to a great start in this game. Chovy going down relatively low, but does clear out that minion wave and is looking for that first back. And getting good back timings is definitely fantastic. Doesn't have teleport to try and mitigate some of that. As we're going to check out this bottom lane play once again. Oh, the flash and carrier is great.
I mean, great timing and reactions on that, but yeah, we're just going to watch this again. I mean, it's a nice idea from Doran, right? See how long you can try and keep this going, because Owner's just trying to stop him from flashing over the wall and getting away, but he does so good at getting him low. But even, it was kind of dead in the water here. You can see Faker roaming up the bot side because he had that push, so Doran just tries to get towards the tower, but ends up isolating himself, and Owner can finish him off.
Yep, as soon as that flash comes forward, Owner knows that he is dead. If he flashes with hop and flash, then on cooldown, you can see Doran not too happy with the whole situation. Genji not out of it yet, but once again, it's T1 with control of the game. Chovy, possibly overextended. Owner is going to move on in. Does have that level 6 and just drives by. It's going to be absolutely fine, but now doesn't have a flash and the scrap shield on cooldown as well, but still, it's going to be able to walk it
get out.
No worries.
That's not supposed to happen.
Ooh, and
that should never happen.
Hook as well, just grazing the T1 bottom lane. Peanut once again denied any access to the lane.
Do have to say though, Guma used Ghost and Carry used Heal, so they were able to get out, did have to blow some summoners, so that is something that maybe Genji can use when we get to a fight. I'm still very confused as to how Chovy just walked that one off, even with Scrap Shield. He was going very fast.
But he just right-clicked him. That was...
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Guma and Carry did, just
True.
walk away. Just leave.
Ultimately, it does often come down to who can right-click the best. As T1 now just trying to get Peanut out of this area. They do get the Warrior Trickster, is setting up for a bit of a dragon. First one going to be the Cloud Drake, much like it was in game number 1. The Insect going to be able to lock down the crustacean there in the river. And T1 just moved back to clearing out their minion waves. They're still having a fine time here towards this top side, actually even as Doran is going to try and stop that from being the case. Goes back to Mininar, trying to get these hyper procs in as the Q is going to miss. Boomerang lands as well. And does do a lot of work onto the Scion here, but doesn't look like he's under too much threat as Owner is going to have to leap his way out, and he will be able to do so. Did he also secure his level?
Yeah, he got it. He got
fine.
6 of that as well.
And that's what I was going to say. This is part where you're getting to the dangerous point where when you get 6 for Peanut and for Chovy, you can actually start to use this double combo. And if Peanut had actually won the level 6 bout there and Owner has to run, this bot lane could have been under serious threat. But with no 6 for Peanut, no real engage, it is actually buying some space for T1. So much bigger win for Owner than you would have realized.
Yep, currently 600 gold lead here for T1. Genji looking for their first level 6 fight opportunity. Of course, I can go back into the history books as far as trying to work out how a Rumble team composition works, and it is get to level 6, find team fight, put equalizer, good spot, win team fight, win game. They haven't found that opportunity just yet, and right now T1, with the amount of map control that they have, they should be able to secure this dragon. But look to see Genji find that sort of angle to try and get themselves back into this game and the series.
And I do think you can give up a dragon when you're Genji. Herald, though, you got to contest, right? You got to be able to actually fight for this, because I think if you start falling behind on gold, on champions like Rumble, you don't get a big early equalizer, you don't start snowballing. It's going to make the rest of the game incredibly hard to play out. The extra gold that you get from Herald is going to be pivotal, and Genji seems to notice as well, starts up the objective here, but looks some movement from T1 towards the Herald pit.
push him mid. This is the problem. Chovy will end up coming in a little bit late, but Peanut, can he get onto Faker here? Good ward.
Yeah, good ward is going to be down, but Tibbers is still going to be available. Doran just jumps past him. Okay, not going to press the R button though, as Super Mega Death Rocket is going to fly by. Peanut going to get eviscerated in the battle. Faker grabs that one, but the Kazi's going to be taken out as well. It's a decent Q there from the Scion, but it's a double kill for Chovy before he goes down. Now Doran's trying to fight it out, but T1 have brought in the cavalry. It's a decent lantern, but not enough to save Doran, and Delight is just going to try and make his way out. T1 going to win this one.
I mean, things have not been working out.
Oh dear, the Thresh is going to fall. Okay, great. As Fake is going to press his Sonyas, get a wild growth, and he will be fine.
Oh, and that one has got a sting for Gen G to even rotate up pace, but he's not able to join. We'll just have to accept getting a bunch of plates. Doran did actually end up getting Herald though, so even though the kills aren't great, maybe Gen G can use it to bounce back, but that's not how you want your first fight with a Rumble composition to go.
I mean, top laners and people walking away from the name a better duo in this game. not going to be able to get it, but I mean, it was a really good ultimate from Chovy, which started off the fight for Gen G, and you can kind of see Luxeus was standing on it for a lot of it, but at the end of the day, Faker not really having enough damage in the tank to take him down kind of caused a lot of issues, and now Delight finds Faker once more here.
Yeah, possibility. No flash available, of course, as he hex flashes over the wall. Delight just biding his time, looking for that window, looking for that angle, and Faker is just not going to give it to him as he walks towards Pays and gets himself a stun with that. Hey. But not too much else going to come of it.
That's money right there. That's a first strike.
Absolutely.
You take those.
As we're going to check out this fight one more time as T1, they just get there a little bit faster. Of course, you can see Jinx in base.
Yeah, I mean, Peanut goes down immediately, but you can see there the ultimate hitting immediately on towards Owner. You've also got Zaya standing on top of it, so he takes a ton of damage right behind the health bar here. You see he'll go down, but then you've now got the zombie side in the middle of you who just one-shots Chovy, so even though Delight flashed in, there's not a huge amount left. Doran stuck in the pit, one more auto for Guma, and then we just get the chase down here. It was so close to Delight being able to turn this around. Like, it was a nice hook and a nice attempt, but just not quite able to get it across the line.
And shout out to Brendan Valdez here, as the best item in the game is going to keep Faker alive.
Not even close.
He has a Sunfire cake?
He's like, wild growth me, wild growth me, wild growth me, wild growth me, and then the turret shot was about to hit him, gets the wild growth, but still has to break the stopwatch. So I guess it's
tragedy.
It's, you know, two things that he had to use there. Could have been better. But it's still going to be absolutely fantastic here for T1 as they put pressure on this bottom side as well. Gen G trying to hold on, trying to stop any sort of dive, any sort of extra bleeding of gold. As Doran's moving down, Chovy knows that he can push this wave up.
I think a huge portion of this is trying to unlock Doran from these side lanes because he has the Rift Herald, right? You can see 2/3 of the way through the timer. They want to try and get that gold into other lanes like Chovy, like Pays, but although it is nice to have, it does feel like at the moment you're probably just going to end up using it for yourself, Doran. I wouldn't be surprised to see Peanut trying to move up into this top lane just to give that support and make sure he can get the charge off.
Someone needs to go and help Pays.
Yeah, Pays is looking in danger. But Owner is not going to get over there just yet. Control Ward does give Gen G full information of what's going on here. As Doran fighting against Zeus, decent wall up there as he gets the Nara into the wall, throws a stone, a Gen G stone, thanks to Cube, into Zeus. But Zeus loses almost 50% of his health bar. That's the result of all of those buttons. And he's just going to turn it back around. Mininar not super tanky.
Wins the trade?
Yeah, you win the trade, just like land one Q.
Oh, Doran.
He's going to back out, so Faker not going to be able to find that angle.
And something that I think is really remarkable and is a really big pivot from what Gen G used to do domestically is how they've actually been able to funnel gold into Gumayushi. I think T1 for a really long time held on to these compositions which were very high execute, and even though it's not like they wouldn't play around Guma, they wasn't the focal point, right, of how they played. It was more so focused around Owner, around Zeus, and around Faker. And even in games like this where it's not about necessarily ganking bot lane, he's the one that ends up being in the right place at the right time, gets fed early, gets accelerated. It feels like every single game he has been at least half an item, if not more, ahead of pace.
And especially as you start to come up towards the second dragon, the Gale Core is now completed for him. This is where at least you can see Gen G trying to make something work towards Faker in the mid lane before they move over towards the dragon, but at least they do get the push. But look at the bot side, Chovy, he can't defend this tower.
Yeah, Gumayushi does a lot more damage to turrets than Doran does, so as far as this race is concerned, T1 are winning. Equalizer goes down, though, to get Gumayusi away from this one. So that turret is going to stay up for now. Gen.G bearing down on them now, though. There's 3 members of T1 in the area, but are going to be able to stand strong. And now another wave is going to come down towards the Rumble.
This is just a bluff from Gen.G, though. When you have no equalizer, like, that's the majority of this combo gone. So FaZe starts to move back in, but they can't really contest this Dragon, and T1 are well aware of this.
Yeah, all you get is a heal. That's not worth it. Gumayusi still has double summoners. Wild Growth is available as well.
Well, Peanut's going to move in, and T1 looking to back away from this Drake for the moment. Owner keeping it aggroed. As it does turn, there's the flash Tibbers from Faker to start off this fight. Hook is going to connect. Zeus not going to be worried about the CC right now as Cyclone comes in from Peanut, but he's relatively low. Dragon secured by T1 as they grab the Infernal. And now they're just looking to back themselves out. Hook going to go completely wide there as Doran's Nabar is getting there. Does get the extra health as Gumayusi says, get away from me.
And now imagine that fight if you have an equalizer, right? Which is what the comp is. Yeah,
would have been better.
Would have been great. Not going to be the case, and it takes away so much of the team fighting power that you have otherwise available. Faker starts the fight, forces Chovy, and even though Chovy is able to stay alive, he's like, a Rumble with no ult, no flash, that's at half health. So he's not able to do anything, any meaningful damage as Zeus.
Yeah, I saw the hook land and I was like, oh, and then I saw that it was on Sion, and I was like,
oh no. Oh,
yeah.
Never mind.
I guess you took a cooldown from your opponent. Zeus, nicely done.
But this has been a couple of games now this series where we kind of talked about, hey, look, you've got great opportunities for this mid-jungle to work together, right? We saw it on the Ari game, now we're seeing it again with the Wukong and the Rumble, and it just hasn't worked out for Gen.G where they're actually able to get that synergy to work. And now T1 have been abusing the fact that, hey, look, if we don't have to worry about this, well, let's control the bot side of the map. Let's make sure that we're actually getting Gumayusi into this great spot.
Do want to highlight, though, that this type of team composition, as much as we talk about the early game, it takes one good Gnar and Equalizer combo to win a fight no matter what, right? But what I'm mostly worried about is how T1 have been able to play around leads. So I think that right now Gen.G still has a decent position in this game. If they can find a flank, if Doran can get onto, say, Gumayusi or Faker, slam them into the wall. But in the last 2 games, when T1 gets a 2k gold lead, they get a 5k gold lead. And then they get a 10k gold lead. And then Baron and the game is over.
Yeah, and if you have more money, you're a bit stronger, isn't that right?
Bold state, I mean, I'd say so. Yeah, generally.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what you spend it on.
That's true. That's true.
And you got to spend it as well.
Yeah, but you don't have to spend it all on control wards. You can buy other things if you would like
Protein
to.
shakes, make yourself stronger.
All that sort of stuff.
Workout gear.
Yeah.
There's diminishing returns. If you put it all into the one thing, then generally it's not going to work out unless you diversify. Exactly.
I will say, though, if you get control here on Vision for T1, it's real difficult for Gen.G.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you'll see, like, once Chovy starts to pop up in this top side, if they can actually push that Vision in further onto the top end of the map or even in the bot lane, it just opens up Owner to just play around these bushes super well. Look for anyone on Gen.G that maybe wants to try and aggress forward, and even just keeps Gumayusi significantly safer, right? Because if you actually can't push in because maybe a Kha'Zix is going to come behind you, but Guma's going to win the mid push or side lane push all the days long and make it really difficult for Gen.G to really fight back against the Helios.
Well, things have slowed down just a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, and T1 just looking for their next opportunity to pounce. 3 minutes on their favorite neutral objective in the universe. Baron going to be up in about that much time. 2 minutes on this Mountain Drake, and another Mountain. 3 in a row? This is not the T1 way. The T1 way is Cloud almost every single game.
There's only one person we can blame for this. There's one thing that has changed between you and me casting this.
You
and he's standing right beside us.
Wow.
What do you have to say for yourself?
So
I feel like Chronicle, you've got to be the Ocean Soul guy.
That's me, yeah.
Yeah, well, we got a bit of a battle happening here as Shirley does pop down into this mid lane as well. She's getting denied, and I have a feeling she ain't going to be charging anyone. There's a flash forward from Zeus. The equalizer doesn't really do too much as Chovy gonna have to take a land right, but Pays doing so much work. Faker going to be the one to go down first as Tibbers gets angry, but not angry enough to take anyone down. And Gen.G, they will get a kill onto the mid laner, but they lose the value from Shirley.
A little bit trigger happy there from Zeus. Yes, he's able to tank all that damage, but the rest of his team isn't quite in position. Owner!
Yeah, he's diving forward. Not going to be able to find anything there. Doran down to 50% health. but he's going to get to safety.
Nice pickoff for Gen G, but that by itself isn't enough. They need to turn this into more, and it looks like they want to start taking down these outer turrets and get some more map control.
Also give them a bit of a gold influx as well. 55 seconds until that third potential Dragon 4 T1.
Big.
That is huge, especially if you can start to get some of these second items completed, but I don't think we'll be quite there yet. You're probably going to finish like half an item here for a lot of Gen G. T1 responding well though, reading that Chobi went up towards that top side alongside Peanut, so they're like, cool, we'll answer with the spot lane turret instead.
Yep, Gumayusi going to be making quick work of that one. 2 turrets in the bank now for T1. Gen G have infinitely increased the amount of turrets that they got since the previous game. Being able to get at least one of them so far, but they're going to need more than that if they want to win this game. They're going to need to find themselves a team fight that can actually work out for them. Hasn't quite worked just yet. Doran clears out this wave, but it feels like Gen G are playing on the back foot and have all series long. Azona with the empowered W. Gonna get dove on here by Peanut. Does have that spell shield, and he will be absolutely fine. Leaps his way out.
I actually want to highlight, this is something that T1 did as well when Owner was on Kha'Zix in the Mad game, which is how much they use his early Umbral Blade for vision control, right? Particularly because Gen G is kind of relying on finding flanks to try and engage. The hard engage isn't that good outside of Peanut just straight up jumping in or finding a hook.
Gen G not going to give up soul point here. Are going to contest this Drake. They do have equalizer this time around. Can they find the team fight that they've been looking for all series long? A lot of movement speed here by T1 as they pop the Shurelias, but haven't committed to anything just yet. Delight just off to the side, finds the hook. There's the equalizer, perfectly timed. But Kha'Zix gets into the pit, not able to get the steal, but does have to flash his way out. Flash hook does come in from Delight, but doesn't find anything from it. Faker has decided to invest. His Moonlight Vigil comes down, no kills just yet, but Peanut is separated from the rest of his team, and Gale forts forward from Gumayusi to look for more. Not going to be able to get the kill though, and now the Unstoppable comes in. Good hook. Zay is going to go down, but can T1 find anything? Yes, they can! As the Nara is going to go down, Delight falls as well, and it's even more for T1 as Gumayusi gets the double.
Like 2 kills go over, but it is going to be Gen G at least getting the Dragon. T1 though, immediately pings are going down onto this mid lane turret. They want to make sure they can get even more off this. Bit of a scrappy fight, but T1 are able to come out.
And we see Gen G use the equalizer as a tool of zone control, deny access to the pit. T1 is forced to back off. Gen G's thank you for the mountain soul, by the way. And as a result, the initial fight goes well, but it is when the rest of Gen G goes forward that things go awry. Are they thinking that they're doing better?
Owner is just going to get interrupted there as Peanut is going to press the stop button and just walks his way out. Okay. Just walk off? I would have been a bit more scared than that, personally. But didn't quite have the W cooldown, but still going to be able to walk it out.
I mean, at least he faked them out, potentially, maybe. I don't know.
You know, if they don't get that, if he doesn't get the smite, if they don't get that Mountain Drake, he's dead.
True.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I like that. Let's have a look at the replay.
I do think, though, this is a bit of a mistake for Gen G. You're just fighting front to back here, which is exactly what T1 wants, right? Makes it very easy for Zeus to step up. Yes, Owner comes in and manages to just hop out of the pit, but look how spread out this is, right? Like, this is totally fine now. The hook is down. You don't have to worry about any threat of the Cyclone or the ultimate, so Faker and Gumayusi immediately starts to step up, and it's a very, very spread out fight for Gen G. And with the big wombo combo we were talking about kind of down, Hayes is trying his best to hit the front line, but there isn't a front line for him to really do so, and it struggles to actually step up and deal the DPS he needs.
Also CT1, not only do they get Doran low, but they kind of wait out with the full re-engage until he's blown everything, right? Mega Gnar almost down, and he does get an ultimate down on Zeus, but he doesn't really care. He's only there to ensure that the fight keeps on going, and yeah, those types of damage numbers.
Looking for a bit of a dive here as Gumayusi says, all right, well, I'll just walk in and kill you if you want to try and take out a turret. Still, they will be able to collect it there. Jinx gets excited and runs away. Going back to that last fight, it was actually really cute. Carrier pre-casted the Wild Growth on Gumayusi and said, go, have the extra health and kill everyone. And he did. That was precisely what occurred. So, nice little play there. But T1, they will lose their outer turret in the mid lane, and Gen G might be able to make use of that, play around it as we get further on in this game. It's only 1,000 gold the difference, right? Like, there's not any sort of insurmountable gold lead that's been put together. But Gen G, they do need to just do better in these fights, because T1, honestly, have just been playing better in the 5v5s this whole series long.
And that's the thing, technically, this is the part where they're stronger, but
there we go!
T1 starting it up. I mean, you've got 2 items completed across the board here, but this is still very dangerous if Peanut and Chobi can get that combo down.
Well, Chovy over the side, Doran moving in. There's the equalizer. Peanut gets into the pit. It will be a 50-50, but it's secured by Ona. Peanut explodes. And T1, they'll take the jungler and they'll take the Baron. The first one, 22.5 minutes. Second one, 21 minutes. Third one, 23 minutes. All right, nice.
Is it really a flip? Yes. It is still a flip.
Yes, it is.
That was still extremely risky. And there's a very thin line between confidence and overconfidence. T1 is able to get away with it, but if Gen G was a little bit more ready for that, maybe he had a deep ward, that could have backfired horrendously. Instead, you know, you get Baron, you walk it off, you're completely fine.
Well, there's the Mega Nub, but it's avoided by Gumayusi. Fantastic reflexes on the Gale Force, gets him to safety. And T1, with their Baron, will just walk themselves out. Look to spend some gold before they start again on this push.
Yeah, we'll be able to reset here, but honestly, like T1, they're in firm control here. Like, you get to reset, you got Baron, you get to look for the next dragon as well. That'll be 3 to their name, and what a statement series from T1 at MSI as well. In fact, you're going up against Gen G, who beat you in finals, and you're making it look like a clean 3-0. Like, this is insane from T1, and they definitely found, like, they have found the meta that suits them here, and they are punishing anyone who steps up against them.
Yeah, and some people would say that the finals were a little bit of an upset as well, as T1 were very, very strong at that point.
You?
Oh,
I remember.
I don't know whether I would go out of my way to say so. Just ignore the predictions for that particular final. I was alongside Jonah Strong, and he definitely predicted it correctly. As Gen G making their way out, but they're running out of options as this game progresses. 3,000 gold now the lead. 2,000 of that is our Red Bull Baron power play so far. There's still a minute and a half left on that buff. As Doran looking for a flank angle, they find the equalizer down onto Faker. He has to commit, and he throws down the tower and goes 1-for-1. What the heck was that? Okay, Faker, he just takes Pays with him, and that is so much of the pushing power for Gen G. They would really like to kill Faker and take this turret, but without Jinx, I don't know whether they can.
That might be a bit of a problem. That could be a bit of a problem for these future fights, because now Faker's like, oh, I can actually just kill Pays if I flash forward, and they don't have anything that can really deal with me.
They did manage to get the turret, though, so I was wrong there.
Well, Faker still has flash.
Yeah.
And Pays doesn't.
Yeah.
And I want to highlight again, last game we saw the Rocket Bell. This time around, it's Ludens. He is just going all in, and meanwhile, on the cross map with Baron buff.
And also, there's some hooks landing, things like this. They do try and, they do manage to kill the Kazakhs, but at the expense of their inhibitor turret and inhibitor, as Gumayusi is just going to destroy that one. Doran and Pays just have to watch as all of their stuff gets broken in their house.
It does say a lot with Gumayusi. Oh, hang on.
All right, well, he's walking up to 3 people here. Flame Chamber's goes down. Doran is going to die first. Now he's flashing forward. The Crescendum almost kills Pays, but Pays is able to get the shutdown, the double onto the bottom lane of T1. But is it actually enough to get them into a winning position? I don't think so just yet.
Okay, Guma, the previously was confidence. This time it was overconfidence. Just flashes in, has faith, ends up going down. And I actually think that kill is really big because that makes sure that Pays is looking a lot better. The cross map, though, still not very good for Gen G.
Faker has flash, is in a bush, and Pays is coming towards him. So be careful. But I definitely think for Gumayusi, like, you could see how confident they were. They were like, oh yeah, AD carry and support against the top laner and AD carry. Yeah, we win this. Just come at me. Gen G had to respect him. So definitely T1 feeling themselves this game, and rightfully so. They've gotten pretty much everything they could hope for.
Yep, goal difference powered by AWS is pointing towards a T1 victory. We'll see whether that is what's going to happen, because a lot of shutdown gold was picked up by Jinx of all champions. And if you want some Gen G hopium, that is definitely it. The Jinx basket needs to be where Gen G are looking, because he's got 3.5 items and he's looking pretty strong.
Upside, though, is that T1 will still have the bot lane inhibitor down as the Baron spawns. Now, T1 don't really need a reason generally to go to Baron, but having a bot lane inhib down is a good, as good a reason of any. Can also make use of the fact that only Doran has teleport, right? Again, Chovy with the ignite. Oh, Doran. Careful.
Scary position, but he will stay alive for now. Delight was lurking and had the lantern available. But T1 Baron down, looking for the Gnar. And Ono, with his Umbral Blade, going to be able to clear out all of the vision. Faker is once again going to be the target. There's a Hex Flash. Misses the play, though. as Delight still going to be able to get a lot of damage, but the Zhonya's is going to keep Faker alive for so long. Turret falls on the top side as Faker, he stays alive. Peanut also going to be able to stay up as well and walks out, limps out after that one. Carrier going to get zapped though, so much damage. It's a corridor and an equalizer, fantastic for this one, but Gumayushi is so strong and Doran does nothing. It's a double kill, a triple, a quadra for Gumayushi.
Doesn't quite finish off the Penta, but Guma was so strong in that fight, and now the TP from Zeus, they want to end it here.
Gen G thought they saw a moment of weakness, and they were right, but it wasn't T1 that was weak.
Oh, it was not enough at all.
Oh,
He's just going to die to a turret, and Chovy is going to sit on the base. There are minions that are winning the game in the meantime.
No, they can't end.
Well, I mean, the minions might be able to, but Zeus definitely isn't, as Chovy once again going to try and go for the drive-by. The zombie mode might be able to be what gets some work done to these turrets. As Chovy says, no, I would like to last hit it. Not going to be able to do so. So, the game continues.
They found the weakness. It was the turrets. That's all they needed. Bait them into the turrets and they can win. Gen G will hold on. But Baron, in 2 seconds, T1 already on the map. A ton of control on this top side as well. You can see the observers pointing out just how much vision is up there. They can start to clear out some of these lasting wards. And Gen G, we got to go through it again.
Oh, second time here for Gen G. Also, in 50 seconds, that Mountain Drake is going to spawn. And T1 could say, we can trade, right? Zeus, no TP, no way to get back to the rest of the fight quickly. And Gen G, they're going to start up the Baron.
Well, we'll see whether T1 can actually go for a contest. Owner is going to be there and will be able to get around. Can he win this? As the equalizer doesn't exactly get a lot of value, it is going to be secured by Peanut. Owner gets himself out of the pit though. Peanut looking for the engage angle as they dive once again on top of Gumayushi, but he presses his stopwatch. Delight getting taken down so low, but the is going to be dead, and now it's Paze's turn to pop up in the team fight. Faker gets taken down, and T1 are routed. Gen G may have found their way back in.
All they need to do is make sure the minions,
might
still
win the
down,
game.
But there's no teleport except on Faker, who's still dead for 40 seconds. And Gen G, they want to extend it. They're going to keep on going.
They want to just win the game here and now. Okay, well, the front door is open. They are going to be able to take down this inhibitor turret. And
that's going to be it.
They are going to be defended. Okay, so Zeus, can you do something heroic is the question. Carrier needs to be there as well. He dives forward, gets the polymorph onto Paze, but it's not going to be enough to keep them in this one. Second Nexus turret going to be taken down, and Gen G will keep themselves alive in the series.
How the hell did Gen G win that game? There was no right. One team fight and just spiraled completely out of control.
And we didn't even get the replay of Gumayushi murdering everyone around that Baron because Gen G were, busy, I guess, finding a way to win the game.
I didn't even feel like Gen G won that team fight, right? Because it ended with their bot lane getting shoved in, and it was just Chovy by himself.
I don't know either. I don't know either. But I guess if Gumayushi does go down in the team fight, there is a way to win. And Gen G definitely proved it. T1 were winning until they lost in that particular game.
I mean, I think a huge portion of that was Owner ended up tanking those Nexus turrets, which meant he fell. And then there wasn't really the damage to finish off Chovy, right? You're a Scion against Rumble, and you're not going to escape away from him either. So a pretty big error means that then you have that opportunity then for them to come back. And because Scion's dead for 50 seconds, no TP, they get the Baron, and they can close it out.
Yeah, 100%. Owner getting executed, they're lost in the game.
Yeah. Hey, and guess what? Now, we're at the very least guaranteed a free one for T1 Gen G for the third time in a row.